better part of a decade, the International has invited the world's finest Dota teams to wage battle for the Aegis of Champions. Now, we assemble once more to celebrate this shared passion. Live at the tournament and in gatherings across the globe, the Aegis awaits in the heart of Seattle, but the international spirit resides in us all. Who will emerge victorious? The battle begins.
Welcome to day 5 of the International main event. 5 teams remain, and today 2 will be knocked out and 1 will be the first team to advance to the grand final. My name is Day 9. I am your host for this event. I am joined up here on the stage by Ake, Merlini, and PPD, and we are pretty hyped. Every single match that's been coming in the last few days have gotten more and more close, more and more crazy. Team Liquid with the 100-minute insane win over VP yesterday. And now Team Liquid, the only team remaining that is a non-Chinese team. And holy cow, Chinese Dota looks amazing. They do, for sure. I really feel for VP for the series like yesterday. I think both of the games that they lost against Liquid was very winnable. Like the 100-minute game, of course, but the last game as well. They had good team fights against the anti-mage, but they couldn't manage to...
That whole series was just like one big anxiety attack. Like it was, yeah. Just even watching, I was just nervous for both teams. And to see how VP lost, I know it would have been, really heartbreaking as a competitor.
I'm a little sad to see them come up short again. We always think they're going to win a major. They're going to be the favorites coming in TI, plays at least top 2, top 3 maybe. But this year, again, they fall short.
Now, if any of you have missed the action from yesterday, absolutely incredible games, let's take a look to get you caught up. Welcome back to the International main event. It is day 4, and today things heat up as every single match is one of elimination.
Have they got the vision for the glimpse? They have Miracle Glimpse back. They will grab him into the lasso. No Kuro for 10 seconds. Comes in with the crush, grabs them all. Matumba Man gets the double kill. Edgar creeps are out now in favor of Liquid. GG. Good luck next is called by Empire. If you're a Liquid fan, you would have been smiling all the way there to the end.
Here we go. OG taking on LGD. TP coming in from the Ember. He gets hit by a stun right upon his arrival. Ana not respecting LGD. Muster your courage, OG. You have only moments before LGD. Take this game 1, and there's the GG. They want to finish the road. Waiting for the jump. Coming in. Warcry coming out. Got 2. The boat hits 5.
Jerax, he's X back, he's in the turret, he's gonna be dead! They are all dead,
LGD, slay the beast!
2 teams, both could easily make the grand final, but now one must go home. He recalled him right underneath the Bloodseeker, who is hungry for blood.
How are Liquid gonna push the base now? Maybe this game never ends, who knows?
The alert will fly through and kills off the next assassin. Our first kill in 20 minutes. If Bloodseeker dies right now, it could be over. They thought they had it. And yeah, 103 minutes. It has been a marathon. Team Liquid will eliminate them from the International.
Ladies and gentlemen, take your seats, get your heads together, fuel up with oxygen, and get ready for the International 2017 All-Star Game.
Sumail on the high ground, looking to join, and yep, there we go. Oh, there we go. That was very nice kill. Now the target, no tails there. Great vision from all. Very precise. Miracle giving chase the curl. They are not able to chase him down. Says he's coming in. I think he gets like a 4 first down. 3, 2, 1, 4 Manic.
Oh!
The All-Star match, a little clowny, but certainly a nice break from all the intensity of the matches yesterday. And I'm curious if there was a highlight for you guys from yesterday's matches.
For me, it was the return of AC coming back to cast the All-Star match. I thought that was really neat. I haven't seen him in a long time, and he is definitely missed.
I just loved all of them getting wild in their booths. For once, we can finally hear them, and they're just all screaming and banging on their table.
And we can hear that Miracle is not a Wisp player. He said that I died, and I like still had mech and stick. So hopefully they won't pick Wisp for him in the next.
He had a pretty long day.
Series.
Liquid had 2 series yesterday, so maybe he was just a little tired. His Wisp was he probably hasn't practiced it in a little bit.
Yeah, carry Wisp didn't really go very well. You saw their team kind of form a doofy composition, and then about 10 minutes in, we're going, oh shit, the other team's actually trying really hard. All right, let's try to coordinate. And all of a sudden he starts buying support items and it still doesn't work out.
20 grand on the line for each player. That's, for the players that are still in the tournament, that may not seem like a lot in comparison, but 20 grand is 20 grand.
I think the Ogre, I don't know who played it for the Dire team, but he tried to go Ags. He like farming a lot, and I think it was top net worth in his team.
No, was talking about it throughout the entire draft. Just give me Ogre mid, Ags.
So a lot of fun was had yesterday at the All-Star match, and now we will be soon getting into our first game. It's going to be Invictus Gaming versus LGD, followed by the winners bracket match to determine the first finalist, and then back down to lowers to see who Team Liquid will face. And if any of you are new or returning, let me just once again say welcome. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're going to have a blast. And if you've never watched Dota before or have seen some and are a little inexperienced, there is a newcomer stream. And on that stream, it's the exact same thing as what's here, but there's additional information, additional overlays pop up, videos that show how heroes and items work, just to help slowly introduce little concepts to the game. And because, I kind of feel like Dota is a game where there's like 7 million things to learn, but in each game, all you do is learn one at a time, and pretty intuitive once you start to learn each of those little bit of chunks. Now, we also have our favorite weatherman, Purge, with us today. Purge, one of the most notable educators in all the scene.
Yeah, I was going to talk a little about the All-Star match, actually. It was pretty interesting. If we take a look at the draft, we have some weird stuff going on the Dire team, and the Radiant just going ultra try-hard. Now, we've all seen these guys play these heroes, with the exception of Aboko playing mid. Was hoping for something a little new, maybe. And on the Dire team, we saw a very normal thing for Miracle, his team building entirely around him. Heals to heal Miracle, to heal his allies, which produce some pretty cool things. And this is ultimately cool. I like seeing Ogre offlane. It was Kaka playing that this game. He got a lot of things done. Miracle saved people continuously with things like Magic Wand, Fairy Fires in the perfect moments that gave them a nice benefit, made the game pretty even. And they even, they had the Necrolite as well, or a Necrophos, whatever you want to call him. And maybe that's a little bit overdone at the moment, but he also went a kind of stupid build, and that's really exciting to see in All-Star matches. This is one of my favorite things about them. But ultimately, it comes down to the fact that the Radiant team just tried too hard. They really did. They picked a lot of in-meta heroes. It provided a lot of close moments. S4 with an amazing play there to interrupt the relocate right before No Tail goes down. But was it worth it? I mean, they got like $100,000 or something like that. But ultimately, it's about the glory of picking stupid things and matching up against your opponents and seeing which stupid build really does work the best. So good All-Star match, that's for sure. And my favorite part of it was when the wows stopped. So thanks to those in the crowd that were bullying our eardrums consistently throughout the event.
Wow.
Please, no more, Sean. I can't handle anymore.
I am a human chat wheel, Purge. All right, let's go back to the serious for realsies matches for the day. Let's take a look at the brackets down in lowers. Not all the lower bracket matches have gotten to the lower bracket final. You'll see that Invictus Gaming versus LGD is still yet to play. Team Liquid, of course, you see there dangling off without an opponent. They are guaranteed top 4. Newbee and LFY up in winners, guaranteed top 3. And of course, down in the bottom with Invictus Gaming going up against LGD. This is an elimination match to start the day. And I think I've heard again and again from you guys, this is a very even match. This is a very unclear who's going to win match.
I think so for sure. And I think that in these games, we're going to see a lot of crazy team fights. We saw that yesterday in almost all of the games, it was team fights lasting for minutes. And it usually happens at this point in the bracket, all of these teams are managing to come this far. They're super good at team fighting, and they're super good at securing the early game, and that's what makes them being able to win the games.
A lot of these teams are also really good at not losing. So like defending high ground and extending games for chances and opportunities to come back. Or we've seen like all the best teams here have been losing games, but they just turn it around after like 45 minutes.
And I'm also curious about the way that Invictus Gaming has been drafting as well. They were one of the few teams to, well, I don't want to call it one of the few teams to, but there was that crazy game where they went Ember Spirit and Bloodseeker and nothing but aggressive melee heroes in order to just try to gank and pick off without really any strong high ground pushing composition.
Yeah, they went with a little bit of a different style. I'm a big fan of marking off all the checkboxes and what you need to win a Dota game.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm right or that it's the best way to play. So they have their own unique take on the game, and I think that they played that strategy to the best of its ability.
Now, if we head on up to the upper bracket, we have LFY versus Newbee, and there's always a lot of intensity in the lower brackets because we've gotten so many opportunities to see these players and teams play again and again. But Newbee and LFY have been crushing. LFY has not lost a single game yet in the upper bracket.
They've been one of the most formulaic teams, I would say, giving Super that tower hitter and then just building around him, giving Inflame a lot of Nature's Prophet, and they kind of just run at you and can end the game very, very quickly. We haven't really seen a team even match that sort of speed.
It's just insane as well because in the group stage, they went 13-0 in the beginning, right? And they secured the top 1 seed. Then they lost a couple of games, but when you actually know that you're top 1, maybe like you're trying, but it's hard to really try your best. And now here in the upper bracket, they haven't lost a game yet.
Yeah.
So,
I want to echo exactly what you were saying too, PPD, about how good these teams are at just not losing. Because in that extremely long game that LFY played against VP, their final game in the winner's semis, just continued to drag it out until they pulled this amazing team fight combo to win it. So I'm super eager to watch LFY versus Newbee. Now, as is customary at the start of these days, we have to get a little Slacks involved. Let's go ahead and see what he's been up to.
Oh, hello. Woo! We are filling up in the arena already, guys. We got a lot of guys ready for some Dota. Am I right, boys? Yeah. And girls. And everything in between. Welcome. Man, I love these fans. They're here at the start of the day. They're ready to go. And as much as I love them, though, I do like messing with the fans a lot more. So why don't I show you guys a little adventure that we had yesterday where we had some help messing with some fans. Hey guys, here at TI, we talk to a lot of fans. It's one of the best parts, but for once we thought that we might mess with them a little bit. Luckily, we have Sheever helping us out. Sheever, can you give us a little nod there if you hear us? Oh yeah, oh yeah. All right. We're gonna tell Sheever what to say, and we're gonna help her with her autograph session here. She's getting some pictures. You excited?
I'm excited, let's go.
All right, Pyrian, you ready?
I'm so ready for this.
All right, Sheever, here we go. Let's take a look at this next person coming up. Oh. Can you tell him to take off the jacket, please?
Oh, can you hold on a second? Could you take off the jacket, please?
All right, now put it on. Backwards, backwards.
Now look at him deep in the eyes and say perfect.
Ready? Perfect.
Okay, now when he leaves, don't give back the jacket.
Could I keep it? Sure. Awesome. Thank you.
All right, great.
I love it.
All right, now just throw it on the ground.
He just left. He just left.
All right, Abed, give us a nod. Let us know that you're ready. Give us a thumbs up.
Take his badge off his head. Do it. Do it. Take his badge right now. Take it. Take it off his head and throw it away. Throw it away somewhere.
I need it anyway. It's all good.
So, okay, Boba, you ready, buddy?
I'm ready.
Don't say anything. Don't talk to us. Talk to the fans.
I'm not supposed to talk? Okay.
Don't say anything. Just nod. All right, Sheever, put your arm around this guy and don't let go.
Don't let go.
Don't
Do not
let go. And then just say, thank you, but don't remove your arm.
Thank you.
Do not let go.
Do not let go.
Poke him in the belly and go boop.
Boop.
Oh, oh. Keep holding.
Keep holding, Sheever. Keep holding. Don't let go.
Do not let go.
Boop.
She's so embarrassed. Boba, tell the next person that you don't want to take a picture with them. And
I don't want to take a picture with you.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry. You got it.
I'm black?
No, I don't want to take a picture. I'm being honest.
Oh my God! No. Say jabated. Jabated.
Jabated.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
How are you going to do that to me, man?
1, 2, 3, say jabated after 1, 2, 3.
Jabated.
Thank you guys for being such good sports. We got the best fans in the world. Thank you, everybody. And that was fun. but there's someone else having fun, of course. Casey, where you at, girl?
Hello!
Oh, hello!
Sorry.
Are you, what the heck's going on over there, Casey? Are you all right?
I heard you, and they were like, Casey, you're next. I'm like, great, but I haven't gotten to where I'm going yet. Sorry.
Sorry.
So we're outside. We're walking in with everybody. How did you think the week has gone so far?
Pretty good. We actually just arrived Seattle yesterday.
Which match are you most looking forward to today?
I guess the match between the foreign team and Chinese team.
Gonna be good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah? Here, I'll walk with you. We're holding up the line. Hey, does anybody want to answer a trivia question real quick? Hands are raised. So polite. Okay. True. Now, Slacks, I think, might have written these. This is like a Maury Povich question. True or false? Roshan once had a twin who lived on the other side of the river.
Maybe in like 2013, but not anymore.
That's correct. It is false. Congratulations. And what's your favorite part of the week so far?
Just, getting here, watching all the matches, watching some good Dota. Just been a great time. I've been here a couple of years before, so it's really good to be back.
What makes this the best year ever? TI4 makes this the best year ever, or are you saying TI4 was the best year ever, sir? TI4? We're past that now.
Well, Liquid's still in, so I've got that going for me, which is nice.
Which is nice. Well, congratulations for that. I'll let you keep going in the line. Now, come on down, everybody. Does everybody remember Myron? Definitely say hi to Myron. Hi, Myron. Myron's behind the camera. We've had some people on Twitter demanding to know why I'm hiding him this year, so tomorrow we will reveal Myron for TI7. Yes, we will. Myron, we've talked about this. Don't make me upset. The line is still going into KeyArena. We are so excited. Who's ready for some good Dota? All right, we'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Slacks, and thank you, fans, for putting up with all of that.
That was so awkward. I just can't see it, stuff like that when they Bullbase poking him in the stomach.
That was my best piece of content that I've seen all week.
It's like, what?
That was incredible. I cannot believe anyone would put up with that. If anyone just poked me in the stomach, I'd be like, what are you doing? Don't poke me.
Really? I feel like you'd be a good sport about it.
What are you doing? Don't poke me.
You gotta add the...
I have a good read on myself. Now, let's talk about the match that we're going to be getting into right now. It's going to be Invictus Gaming versus LGD. We've talked a little bit about how the meta has been evolving as the tournament has gone on. And it's really interesting to see who are the most picked heroes at this point in time and which ones have had the most success. And honestly, a lot of these names are not exactly surprises. We got Sand King, Earthshaker, and Bat Rider, the three most picked heroes in the event thus far. All of them very, very strong in terms of stunning and picking off heroes.
I'm a big fan of Earthshaker. I'm a pretty big fan of Bat Rider too, but I think Earthshaker is one of these heroes that you can pick in your first, with your first pick and be totally confident in. I think Bat's a little bit better of a fourth pick.
How many wins is it from these picks as well? These heroes can
it's probably right around 50.
A lot, but I mean, Bat Rider is a bit easier to counterpick with Oracle and other heroes too.
Yeah, Shaker doesn't really have a lot of counters.
Shaker is good throughout the whole game. So, and he's been played support, mid, and offlane. So
yeah,
it's one of these heroes that teams like to pick up early and keep it open.
Yeah, and in fact, we have some graphics about the most successful heroes at this tournament as well, and Earthshaker is one of them in the top 3. Earthshaker is, I believe, a little above a 60% win rate. Sven is number 2, and then all the way number 1 is actually Nyx Assassin, who, as we see, is the most banned hero of the event thus far.
Maybe it's just the mid players that are shouting to ban the Nyx. They don't want to have the Nyx coming mid and just mono burn them. So
it's so many teams built their teams around their mid players this season, and now the mid lane has kind of fallen out of importance in terms of individual player skill. It's very much 2-on-2, and it's mostly just about farming your wave, and your opponent farms his wave, and then you leave and go to the jungle. So maybe they're complaining, or they're trying to enable their really, really good mid players by banning out.
74% is crazy.
Yeah, isn't that insane? And that is on the main stage and in the group stage at a 75% win rate for Nyx Assassin. And that's a really interesting point that you bring up, PPD, about the importance of mid. Because, in all of the years that I've watched Dota and that I've watched TI, a lot of times it's just 2 solos.
Yeah,
it's just a one-on-one, mano-a-mano.
And that's where individual player skill really shines. But the best teams are I mean, unless you have like the best player in the world, then you kind of have to adapt to that. Like you need to address the other team's mid player because they're going to have 2 heroes there, sort of a thing. So like no matter how good your mid player is, you still need to help.
And a lot of the games, like your mid hero is going to be counterpicked by your opponent's mid hero. So then you send a hero there to counter it and then send another hero there as well.
This game is so much about teamwork. It's very, you know, individual skill does matter, but like this game, like the best teams here have the best teamwork, the ones that are still in.
It's amazing how powerful and sharply you see the combinations coming into play. Because, I mean, when you play in pub matches, you're on your own. I play pub matches, and a lot of times we start off with 2 junglers.
You got Persh, though.
What?
You got Persh to coach you.
But he's not in the matches with me. But when he is, he's great. He's very nice. He's very helpful. He's very supportive. But gosh, man, like seeing the teams in this sort of position, you get to really see and feel those combinations all together. It's really remarkable. And of course, with that sounding of the horn, we know that that means LGD versus Invictus Gaming is about to begin. And I want to talk about some of the specifics. Let's start with LGD. The Magnus play has been one of their hallmarks. Talk to me about their sort of style.
I think it's exploitable. I don't really believe in like Magnus first 2. I think the hero has some flaws, and I think that if you just build a lineup around these eventual melee heroes that are coming, I think you're really geared to win in the late game. Of course, like Magnus lineups farm incredibly fast, so you need to find a way to keep up or control that. But these teams are amazing. I feel like they will probably come up with something.
They might not just pick it as well in this like series because it's against IG. So as we've been talking about before, maybe they feel that the hero is like worse against these teams, and it's better against like the Western teams as well. So
it's one of those guarantees. You know, you come up and you play against LGD, and you go, yeah, they're going to pick Magnus. So if you can plan for that, maybe you can set up a plan to address that.
And there's, I think, 2 players in this matchup that play weird heroes. Burning, I think, plays some weird heroes with weird builds. I think he went like Midas Bots, Maelstrom, Lycan, and then we see maybe a lot on, he plays Leshrac, I think, exclusively mid.
Yeah,
I only player that plays it.
Yeah, their team is, I think, not just the only team that's been picking Leshrac, but also has done the most repeats of Leshrac in the entire event, which is a really cool and interesting hero, especially yesterday we got the chance to see Leshrac with Aghanim Scepter, and I mean, the graphs of the damage output were ridiculous. I had no idea it did that much damage.
I forgot they changed the Ags to add the lightning. Before it was just like your ult does more damage. It wasn't that exciting, but now with the lightning, it's pretty viable.
And the talent that extends the slow duration for Leshrac, so super cool to see the talents having so much influence in terms of the lineups. The teams are ready to come out. I'm super thrilled to bring them out. Let's give a warm welcome to our first competitors, Invictus Gaming. You know, I was talking to Merlini yesterday, asked him who player to watch was on this team, and Merlini said, all of them. I mean, this lineup is just remarkable. XXS giving one of the highest fantasy point outputs of the entire tournament in the early matches, Burning one of the most famous players ever, Baboka and Q, just extraordinary. Their opponents will be LGD Gaming. LGD Gaming coming out into the booths. You know, in terms of the counter to Magnus, you know, we talked a little bit about that at the end of yesterday. But, you know, for anyone who who wasn't seeing them, or who didn't see the end of that broadcast, what are some of the techniques that you want to be thinking of in terms of fighting against that infamous 11 Magnus?
Well, if you can shut him down in the offlane early, that's really beneficial. If he gets off to a pretty quick start, he'll get a quick mana boost, and he'll just go into the jungle with early levels of power and just come out incredibly farmed while also helping his teammates farm.
We saw Kunkka use yesterday to kill him over and over in lane and to counter some of his team fight prowess. That might be some of the solution, but I think the biggest nerf of all is like Ice Frog just nerfing him again and again. His Empower takes quite a bit of mana, so he's pretty useless, I would say, until like level 15 plus. Like, you need a lot of time to ramp up, similar to Enigma.
And especially also like now when the jungle is a lot worse to start in than jungle because the creeps gives less experience and gold. So if he actually gets bullied out of the lane and he has the jungle like straight away, then he can't get as much. So in that sense, heroes that can actually go on the off lane has been more popular. Like
yeah, it's really tough to try and commit to going to the jungle, especially with all the roaming fours running around.
Yeah, but I think that's why the Prophet maybe have been coming into play again, because he can pressure the safe lane a lot.
I think everybody is pretty much laning. There's like very few times I've seen where people actually have to like leave the lane nowadays. So the heroes that are stronger in lane, like Lich, for example, Furion, those guys do really well.
Is it just that they're choosing heroes that are more capable of staying in lane, or is it this aspect of, you know, supports?
You just get a little less out of farming the jungle now, and it's also a little bit more dangerous because you're giving up a lot more. You know, you don't have somebody keeping the other supports in check. You don't have somebody challenging the carry. You know, you might bring one of your supports to the offlane to take your place because you're busy jungling. So it just really spreads your resources a little too thin, in my opinion.
Yeah. Here we see Invictus Gaming, their main event picks, and there it is. You see the Leshrac making a cameo appearance. Only picked twice up here on the main stage, but their most picked hero is going to be Kunkka, as you mentioned before.
Yep, definitely one of their go-to 4 positions. We'll most likely going to first to that hero if it's available. It could even be banned.
And you know, Troll went 0-2 as well. That's Peter's favorite. He loves
that's just my thing. It's just now known that I'm just not a troll or a fan of Troll.
I mean, you've been saying that you've been warming up to Troll over the course of the event.
Miracle Troll was really solid.
Oh yeah, yeah. Backed up by GHs.
It's especially as well when they pair it together with Magnus, when they can help him farm a bit and to like help him to get these items that he needs.
Yeah. In the game that we saw he was successful where Miracle was playing, I think he was against a Luna, right? I mean, I don't really think Luna's that great of a hero right now, so I guess maybe Troll works in that scenario, but in most scenarios, I would imagine he wouldn't work that well.
It works only if you have something that's even worse on the opposite team.
He pairs decently well with. He pairs decently well. He pairs really well with Magnus.
Yeah.
That's like Troll kind of lacks like wave clear and like push.
I like the playstyle that MidOne was playing with him too. He went like blink relatively early and didn't go BKB and ran around and try and kill people a lot instead of passively farming. I like that playstyle too.
There's like 2 carries that have been picked a lot that Troll is good against. It's the Sven and it's Luna. Well, Luna hasn't been picked a lot, but I think those are 2 of the carries that Troll is the best against.
Well, Sven's been one of the most picked and most successful heroes in this tournament. What is it about Troll that lets him have that edge against Sven?
His passive bash, I think. Like when he goes up and starts to hit Sven, and when Troll gets his BKB, then Sven can't do anything against him. So,
for lack of a better term, I think we call it like man fight, where it's just like you square off on each other and you just smack each other over and over until somebody comes out ahead. Troll's kind of the king of that through the innate passive of the bash and then also like the incredible attack speed.
Yeah,
It's stun lock carries even if they have BKB on.
So if we shift a little bit away from the carry role, I want to talk about position 4, the roaming support that has continued to be a theme that has emerged again and again. It's less about some of the all-stars in the lane. It's so much about those position 4s in the early and mid game. How do you think these 2 teams will square up?
So we have Baboko on one side. He's far more well-known than the other player, Victoria. So I'll talk more about Victoria. Victoria plays Kunkka a lot, like way more than any other position 4 that we've seen. As you mentioned, it's probably going to be first phase ban or first pick. He also plays Tusk a lot. And they have the option of Wisp. Wisp is not a hero that's been really popular this tournament. It's just always banned versus Liquid. And then everyone else, we just haven't seen it too much. So we could actually see it popped up a little bit, but not as active as Baboko. He's way more of a defensive support. He just sits behind his cores a lot more. In Baboko, he runs around the map and pressures the opponent's cores.
And in terms of, how do you think those 2 fare in the current meta? The idea of being aggressive and proactive versus defensive. I mean, we saw a little bit of like defensive play with Winter Wyvern sitting and camping by the Invoker?
It's tough to say. I think Victoria's definitely a lot less flashy than Baboka. You know, Baboka's constantly looking for couriers and doing all these crazy ganks where he's diving towers and cutting in between all these trees, whereas Victoria will like play like that safe, defensive, almost like Kunkka and Tusk, and be there ready to back up his cores and counter-initiate.
It just feels that you like really need someone to at least like go around and get info, because if you actually like sit 3 people in the like safe lane, both your mid and off lane is gonna be super scared of ganks, and they're probably gonna die a couple times.
If they're gonna pick this Kunkka as a support, I would hope that they would have some aggressive cores that could initiate fights. You know, on 11, but also on maybe on maybe.
So we've talked a little bit about some of the players and their play styles. I want to move to some of the specific heroes and hero combinations and strategies that you think are the big, high-impact things to watch for. We've been seeing things like Nightstalker Batrider. We've been seeing Ancient Apparition Faceless Void. We've been seeing Slardar Darkseer out of Team Liquid. I mean, what are some of the big highlight combos for you before the match gets underway?
Haven't these teams picked a lot of different heroes except for, is it Maybe who played the... that was Super, right? But I think they're gonna pick... I think it's very hard to say like what they're gonna pick before the game. It's just like Magnus with a melee carry that LGD has been picking a lot. But other than that, like Burning has been playing a lot of different carries, and yeah, Baboka like Monkey King and these other heroes. So it's very hard to say, I think.
Regardless of what the picks are, I think this will be a very high skill game. Being China versus China, and then being familiar with each other, probably practice against each other before they came to this event. It's going to be a battle of the mind games because they're going to know each other incredibly well.
Game 1 is going to start right now. It's Invictus Gaming versus LGD for a spot in the top 4.
Invictus Gaming versus LGD. Game 1.
Very curious to see how the draft is going to pan out because of how interesting the meta has been in terms of developing over the course of this event. We see the Kunkka Nightstalker ban out of Invictus. We see the Nyx Lich ban out of LGD. Relatively common bans. Perhaps the Kunkka is the one that is the most specific, trying to deny that to Victoria. And right away, the Earth Spirit.
Do you guys think we're going to see Magnus from LGD here?
Be better.
I'm not sure. I was thinking about that they might not want to pick it against IG for some reason. And IG isn't banning it either, so obviously they aren't afraid of it, even though it's one of the heroes that LGD has been the most successful with.
Earth Spirit's a pretty anti-melee hero, so almost a little bit of preparation for that. I mean, Baboka plays a fantastic Earth Spirit the other day. We saw him kind of like dominate that game where up against somebody's offlane puck. Forget who.
In that sense, they might just want to prepare for it, as we say, that they pick Earth Spirit, that they don't really commit for like anything. So if they actually see the Magnus pick here, they can counter it with their second pick here.
Why do you say the Earth Spirit is a good counter to melee heroes?
Well, his spells, like the proximity and with the way his spells work, you know, his Magnetize works on targets that are around his rocks, and then his boulder kick hits everything that goes through a line. So the closer you are, I guess the higher percentage you're going to get hit by it.
It's a reliability factor.
Just on like the cone of it, I guess. Like the farther you are away from Earth Spirit, the harder it is for him to hit the rock on you. But if you have like Magnus and 2 other melee heroes, it's very likely that he's going to be getting a lot of 2 to 3 man stuns and silences.
And he also has the silence, yeah. So he actually has 2 ways to stop the Magnus from coming into the fight and using his ultimate.
Magnus pick right away from LGD.
Well, not right away. They actually wasted. Well, not wasted. They used like 40 to 50 seconds of their reserve time on their very first pick of their very first 2 picks of the game.
Also a very fast DP pick, so it just seems like IG, as we said, like they prepare for the Magnus.